They wrote me up for not working a day I wasn't even scheduled to work. More shit I've healed from, work edition. At this time, I work for a non-for-profit. I was in school. I was finishing up school, still living in Chicago, getting ready to finish up my degree. I had to start my internship in order to graduate. Yay! That meant going part-time on my full-time job and working full-time at the VA. I had just transitioned from full-time to part-time, meaning I was no longer a Monday through Friday. I was a Saturday and Sunday only, 7 to 3 a.m. Yes, 7 days a week, but it was worth it. I had about 2 months worth of PTO saved up. The policy was once you go from a full-time to a part-time position, you had 1 year to use all your PTO before it disappeared. Don't you just love non-for-profits? So I decided to get to work. I took time off for graduation, exams, family stuff, the normal stuff. Now, keep in mind, I wasn't taking whole weekends. I would take one day here, one day there because I knew they needed people. And that was the whole point of me, trying to help out, whatever. My supervisor he was an asshole. He picked on me for everything. Every little thing I did, he had an issue with. And he would call me out on it and say I need to do better and all this other stuff. This guy didn't know me from a can of paint, but he was very critical. Keep in mind, I was one of the main trainers of people coming in and out of there because I had been there the longest. This supervisor was new. He'd only been there like maybe a couple months, tops, honestly. Fast forward, he was off that day and there was another supervisor in there. She called me into the office. She's like, hey, I have to serve you with this write-up. Please don't shoot the messenger. He. I said, what is it now? Because keep in mind, this is not my first time being written up for some shit, but me also fighting it and beating it and winning. She said, you've got about 8 unexcused time offs that you didn't get approved for, and we need to write you up for it. I said, okay, cool. Can you give me the dates? Because we need to go through these dates because I've gotten approval for every time I've taken off. And then I even gave her the events that I was doing. Didn't have to, but outside of work, she was a pretty decent friend. So I decided to confide in her. I'm like, look, this is what happened. I give her the dates. She gives me the dates that's on the write-up. We go back and we're looking at it. Sure enough, it was times in which I had gotten approval to go to graduation, to take my licensing exam, to celebrate my graduation. Another one was my cousin's wedding. And then we went through a few more dates, and they were scheduled on Wednesdays. Wednesdays. I only work Saturday and Sunday. Who the hell put me on the schedule for a Wednesday? She looked at it and said, okay, you don't have to sign this. I'm going to fix this. Needless to say, she was wonderful. She took that shit and she went back to the director with it, show her all the information. I gave her proofs of my approvals that I had gotten approved to have those days off. I then reiterated to her that I still had a whole year to complete the rest of my time. I quoted policy. I just think it's hilarious how bad this guy wanted to get me on something and couldn't. He went as far as to make up days. He threw in days that I wasn't even off, days that I actually did work. He had on there. It was like he was just making up random stuff. And how do I know it was him? Because his name was at the bottom of the write-up, which I refused to sign. Sure enough, I get an email saying that the write-up had been rescinded because I was able to prove what I was saying, but nothing happened to this guy. Just for messing with me, I took every Saturday off until I ran out of PTO. And then I applied for another position, got it, and moved on.